I'll just say with that, when I was discussing that earlier, I was saying that I do blame both parties, but even if the person that was getting done wrong, I say their main problem was ignorance, right? And even though that's a fault of theirs, it's not necessarily something that they could help. And if you're going into a situation in good faith, then it's really not your job. We try to instruct and inform and pull coats to help our younger gentlemen to recognize, discern these types of women. And we tell young ladies the same thing about men who may abuse a situation as well. So it is problematic for men to be uninformed, right? But the only problem is ignorance. If they're going in good faith, it's like, damn, can you really fault them for not understanding if they're just green and nobody was in their life to tell them, hey, look, this is what's up? If they just really doing what they were taught and they figured like, all right, well, I'm gonna really love this person. They were expecting it, but at some point they come to a realization that says, well, damn, this isn't supposed to be. This isn't what I thought it was. This isn't how it's supposed to be. I've tried everything. And maybe them as a person may have even increased what it was that they were doing, thinking that they might get a chance at this woman reciprocating, and then still find out that, nah, she really is a bona fide user. So at that point, you're like, damn, it's hard to really blame the man. I understand he's at fault for his ignorance, but I don't see him at fault for anything else. And ignorance is something that sometimes you just can't really help. So can you even fault him then?
At the end of the day, if you get into a relationship with a woman who don't believe in God and don't believe the relationship should be based on the way God intended it, especially a marriage, then you should expect the relationship should be transactional. I think that's a good takeaway from this. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's bad. If it's communicated, then it's good because you communicated that. So anybody who have the balls, I think it really takes balls to deviate from the norm and say, hey, look, like a woman, you got a lot of women who's faced with this. They date economically. They tend to do that. And if they can communicate that, I don't see anything wrong with it. I find something wrong with it if you deal with them after they communicate that and expect them to change it.
Who do you know who the biggest followers of God in the United States is? In prayers, in attendance of church?
It's women, probably. Okay, so let me add this point on to what you were saying, bro.
Follower and an attendee you can be the greatest attendee, but a follower who actually follow the word, that's a whole different thing.
So to add on to your point, Bruiser, like, you know how you said you don't see anything wrong with a transactional relationship, right?
If it's communicated in the terms,
I don't
see anything wrong with it. If y'all
for me, I might look at that. This is how subjective it is. For me, I might look at that woman and say, oh no, that's a bad woman. I would never date her. That man may feel she's a good woman and be okay with that. That's why that definition shifts so much.
What definition?
Then nobody can speak on. Then so none of us can speak on. Then there should be no panels. There should be no discussions on what a good and bad is. We shouldn't call women hoes. We shouldn't call men suckers. He thought he wasn't being a sucker. So why are we calling him a sucker if it's that subjective? I could say he's getting. Right.
If he doesn't think, well, we could talk about whatever we want because it's opinion.
No, I didn't.
In regards to him being a sucker, if he don't feel you a sucker, then he doesn't have to be a sucker. I could feel you a sucker, and you don't feel you a sucker. It's subjective.
Contradiction. Then
how? we have to reserve the right to give our perspectives and opinions, Ali. And a lot of us have people that are inspired by those opinions, because if you want to be honest, nothing is really fact. If you can articulate a point that makes sense and resonate with somebody's life and their decisions, then it's a good point for them. They might be able to take it and apply it to their life. But, I'm starting to see a lot of relationships built on transaction, and they actually work. Who's to say?
Yeah, but I don't
into something else. But
I don't think that's what he was getting at. I think he was just trying to say we should have a baseline. I think that's more so what he was trying to establish. That we should just
everything's subjective now, Trev, and facts. There's no facts, it's just all opinions. It all depends.
Well, the things that you're trying to make facts are subjective. There are facts that exist in the world, but the things you're trying to make a fact, like, you're not going to reach a general consensus with us to agree on the word good. Because
no, Marcus, you said something was subjective. I didn't say it was subjective. You said
no. I'm telling you, in my opinion, the things you're trying to make objective are subjective. Like, all right, let me ask you a question. Do you think polygamy is good or bad?
It's nature.
Is it good or bad?
It's good.
Ruth, is polygamy good or bad? I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
She said bad.
We can't hear her. But it's bad. So based off of that, we can't have
You
a
said it's
conversation.
bad?
She's saying
Can
it's
you hear
bad.
me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Bad. Bad.
So based off of that, if I assume that my position is correct and engage in a conversation as if she doesn't know what she's talking about, one, I invalidate what she's saying, and that's genuinely her perspective. And then to take it a step further, to continue to say I'm right, you're wrong when that's her perspective. Then we cross over into the only fact in that is that if she truly believes,
that's a bad argument in what we're talking about. Because you talking about it, what we really mainly talking about is if someone's engaging in monogamy and if someone's engaging in polygamy, if they're committing, if they did something wrong or right. You're talking about what someone's preference. You're talking about a preference. So if we're trying to commit to what's right and wrong, you can make it subjective, but that's why I said use your right and wrong. But you couldn't concede to that either.
So my right and wrong would because this is the issue. This is the issue for me, right? I would think that me giving all my money to a woman and her beating me on the regular and putting a diaper on me would be extremely wrong. But somebody else could feel that's right for them. And me saying it's wrong for me, I can't look at them and say that's wrong if that's what they're choosing to do and want to do.
You act like there's no right or wrong though when you say that.
Right. You're picking when you feel something is right and you picking when something is wrong.
There's a basic right or wrong. I thought men had it in them, but I mean, maybe I was wrong.
So is polygamy right? We just came from that, and then you jump to this.
So let's not go to like the most controversial thing. That's what it's so hard.
You knew that would be something that would be extremely controversial.
Right. It's very extreme.
All I asked you was to you, whatever.
All right, re-ask the question. Maybe I didn't understand you.
What your perspective of good was. I even went to God, and you was like, "Oh, you went to atheists, but atheists don't believe in God." So all I was asking, if a person that follows God doesn't respect, if a person that believes in God doesn't respect God, is that a good person?
I would say they're not a good Christian or a good Muslim or whatever religion they believe in. They're conflicted and they're probably not ideal to be the person to highlight.
And that's all I was saying. If someone is associating themselves in an intimate relationship, in a relationship with someone that they don't love and respect, and they value them to be in a relationship, typically that person isn't a good person if they're just using the person.
No, but a transactional relationship can exist, which was Darwin's point. That's what happens with
is that
arranged marriages? That doesn't make that a bad.
Now you move the goalpost again with the arranged marriage, Marcus.
No, what I'm saying is that's an example of what you're talking about and how it works. Okay. You said that this is wrong, and I'm explaining to you in this situation it becomes right.
It's still in right or wrong.
Is using someone right or wrong is the main thing. Is using someone right or wrong?
If you're using someone with their consent, you're useful. If you're using someone without their consent, you're being used.
Right. So if you're using somebody who wants to be used, there's nothing wrong with that.
But is it being used?
Yeah, that's what y'all gonna.
It's not being used because both. If it's something that someone wants, they're not being used because both parties are having something fulfilled. So it's not using at that part. Using can't be without consent, right?
Y'all the leaders.
Yes.
Y'all gonna lead me somewhere? Where y'all gonna lead me to? Because this is crazy.
Used.
I tried to get off of this earlier when we determined, what was a good man and what was a good woman, and I got rid of all the nuances that people talk about on YouTube, all the fat and body count and old and kids and all. All I just said was a woman who can be led. I guarantee you, if you're a woman who can be led, you wouldn't have no problem getting in a relationship, period. And if you're a man who can lead, have the capability to lead, you wouldn't have no issue getting in a relationship either. Maintaining a relationship is a whole nother ballgame. But when you have those two, the relationship can last forever. I wholeheartedly believe that.
I wish everybody could answer that question. What makes a good woman?
I've answered it.
Did they answer it though?
It
I
can't
think you're the only one.
I mean, they said she had to be fit, fine, cooperative, and all that. And that's why I asked Sweeney. I said, I stereotype Sweeney. I said he's a big guy, so big guys typically are okay with a woman not being fit.
Ruth, a good-hearted woman. She values men. She values women. She values children. She wants the best out of society. She looks at people for the quality of who they are versus what they have. She wants the best for society as well too. She wants families. She wants families to flourish. She can care less about material possessions. She truly cares about who people are. That's a good woman. She believes, and she don't. Even if a woman doesn't believe in God, but she wants to be righteous. If she doesn't have a religious and she believes in purpose, that still would be a good woman to me as well too. I don't want to say just because she don't believe in the faith, but she doesn't have to be fit. She doesn't have to be in shape. And if she's following, it's something she follows that is obviously in order, and it keeps the family together, or it brings the best out of people as well too. Because if she's following something that's wrong, that doesn't necessarily make her a good woman. And if she's out of shape, that doesn't necessarily make her a bad woman. But just a good-hearted human being, judging someone by their heart.
I would agree with that definition, Ali. Right? I agree with you. The point we're making is, if somebody is extremely religious, right, and just by you not, you're going to hell because you're sinning. You're not a good person. They would say you're not a good person strictly based off of that. That's why
I wouldn't agree with what Ali said. I would agree. I wouldn't agree. What the reason why I tried to be as simple as plain when I talked about a good woman, because you wanted to be able to appeal to all men. A woman who's able to be led should be it, period. But once you start putting, she wants the best for society, she's God-fearing, she can't be led, because she can't be led based on the mass appeal. Like, if it's a man that's not religious, then she wouldn't be compatible. If it's a man who don't give a shit about society, I only care about what you can bring to the table in the household that I bring. I'm not worried about society. I need to focus on here. If that's the case, she wouldn't appeal to him. So whenever you have all these other things attached to her, it limits her options. That's why I try to see if us men can come to a consensus to say if she can be led. Because if she can lead, that means you can shift and pull her in any kind of way. And she doesn't necessarily need to come with these already made ingredients.
That don't make her a good woman. Just because she
can make her a good woman based off of that.
You just said you can make her a good woman. That doesn't make her a good woman because she can be led. That don't make her a good woman.
Makes her a good woman for you. Like,
I wasn't saying for me. I was saying for any man that wanted to date a woman, if he looked at her with all these attributes and all these preferences and whatever, and principles and standards, it would be harder to deal with her because her cup is already full. Versus a woman who's simply just waiting on a man to lead her. She's willing to go wherever this man.
A good woman would be, I see a bad man. I see a good man. I see a man with my intuition. I see this man has purpose. This man cares about people. He wants a family. I'm going to follow this man. He's orderly man. I'm going to follow that man. I'll lead that.
These things fall up. Can't you see that all of those things you listed literally falls under a woman being able to be led?
No, it doesn't. Because she could follow a pimp. She could follow a thug. She could follow a dude that's a dope boy. She could follow a dude that grape. She could follow all kind of dudes. Most women talk about they follow dudes that were bad dudes. There's a whole lot of lists.
Now what you did was you moved the goalpost. Now you're saying she's gullible. She can be led by any man that impresses her. I didn't say that. I'm saying when a man and a woman meet, what makes this woman a good woman is simply her being able to be led. She can be whatever the hell you want to call it. She got all these discrepancies, but because she's able to be led, those things can be adjusted. These things that may not be appealing can change because she's willing to cooperate with you. So she might be fat. You know what I'm saying? She might have an attitude or whatever, but because she's able to be led, those things can be changed. You get what I'm saying?
You're giving context. I get what you're saying, but just because she can be led doesn't make her a good woman is all I'm saying. That don't make her a good woman.
So if it doesn't make her a good woman, then that says something about your leadership. Because if you can't lead a woman if you can't lead a woman to be a good man, and you're the leader, it points back to you. That means that you don't have the capability to lead her into or improve or level her up, whatever the case may be.
That would make him a bad man because he can't lead.
That would just make the relationship fail.
No. He got to be a bad man. No. Yeah, he got to be a bad man.
No,
Like,
the
based on your
argument don't. The
definition.
argument doesn't make sense.
That
So
would
the
make him a
argument,
bad. That would
the
make him a
argument
bad
isn't
man.
about, the argument does. It wasn't about whether a man could lead or not. It was about, you said that the fact that she fought, she
It
can be
is.
led, makes her a good
Roof,
woman.
I correct myself. Roof was correct because we said a good man is a man who's able to lead, who can effectively express leadership.
Ruth, you conceded that the fact the man can lead just makes him a good man because he can
Oh,
lead
I don't
you.
agree with nothing he say. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Listen, I get it.
On
You
this
got to
one,
have money and all this stuff. Well, we're trying to get
Easily.
past. We're trying to get past all that. This
So was
is trying to have.
so was Hitler.
Darwin,
So was
you
Hitler.
believe
Hold on, Ruth. Is Hitler a good man? Was he a good man?
It's a segment of society that love him. The people that like.
See what I
You
mean?
wouldn't
Wow. Wow.
I don't.
Wow.
In my personal opinion, no, he is not a good man. But I can go to a forum with over 1 million people who think he's the greatest. Is what we
He's
saying.
probably God.
Yeah.
Answer the question, Darwin. Was Hitler a good man?
And in what context are we answering this
Because he
question?
could lead a woman. You said that's the definition.
I can't. I've never seen him. No, I would say no, because I don't have any. There's no history or no abundance of evidence that shows that he was a good man or a good husband.
He was a
So
good
I
leader.
can't-
Argument is
You
tainted.
asking me a
No,
loaded.
he was a good leader though. He might not have been.
No,
I
if you
would-
ask me, was he a good leader? I would say he probably was one of the best leaders of all time.
Oh wow.
He was able to lead a whole nation to annihilate.
He was married and he had people follow him. So you said a leader is a good man. So was he a good man? I'd ask you if he was a good leader.
We're talking about in the context of the relationship.
So Marcus, you believe he was a good man? And
no, listen to me closely. I do not believe Hitler was a good man. However, I believe the people following him and the people that to this day praise him think he was a good man and a great man.
So
Yeah,
a leader
I don't
could be.
believe
So
a
a
man
leader
was a
isn't
good
necessarily
man.
a good man, correct, Marcus? Since you don't believe he was a good man.
You can be a good
I don't
leader and a
understand the
bad
point you're
man.
trying to make.
Huh?
You can be a good leader. That's why.
No, y'all
it
said
doesn't
a
make
good
you
leader is a good man. No, you said a good leader is a good man. Y'all equated
we
good leader to good man. So does that make Hitler a good man to you?
We said a good man is able to has the capability of leading in a
He led a
relationship.
woman. So you're saying that Hitler
He
is a
was
good man.
married and he
Yeah.
had followers. He was
Yeah.
married.
He believed that
So he
Hitler
has
was
to be
a
good
man.
to you too.
Yeah.
But that's why I asked you, what context are you asking? When you're trying to, what you're doing is setting us up. When you just say,
No, you setting your own self up. No,
Yeah,
you setting your own
doesn't
self
look
up. I'm
good
not
when
setting
you-
you up.
you just
No,
leave it out the
no,
context.
Bruce, you're setting your own self up. You said a leader. You said a leader is a good man, and you said a woman who can be led is a good woman. You set
That's
yourself up. I didn't set that up. I didn't say that.
No, you.
I said
try to use
I
the
said a
worst-
woman can
some of the
lead. I
worst
said a
people
woman
in the
can follow
world.
something bad. I said women can follow someone bad, and a man could be a bad leader, and he could be a bad person if he's a good leader.
I'm just gonna say this is becoming extremely circular at
Yeah,
this point.
I think that y'all like
In
power
circular.
so much that like Darwin likes power. So it's only about if a woman would listen to every word I say. That's what I take from it. A
Damn.
woman is good if she listens to everything. I want her to switch her religion. I want her to listen to what I say. I want her to wear what I want her to wear. And it's like, how is that a two-way relationship? That's not a relationship. That's a dictatorship.
No, there's not a dictatorship, because a dictatorship, I would think that you don't have the option to decline the guidance from the superior. You get what I'm saying? You don't have that option. I think the option is death or incarceration. But when we're talking about leadership, you have the option to decline whether or not you want to sway whatever way he's turning you. And let's say, granted, it's for the best interest of the relationship, and he is the leader. He's the man of the household. If you could listen, I think that right there single-handedly could fix a lot of the problems in relationships.
But sometimes the guys, y'all have to like read books and find out like what really goes on about leadership. Stop making stuff up from your head, and that's how it's supposed to go. That's why it's hard to follow.
I think the book okay. So are you
So what are you
insinuating that we're
suggesting?
doing that?
That's what I'm saying. What are you suggesting, Ruth?
Read some John Maxwell. Find out the 21
How about we read the Bible?
Leadership. You cut me off. I'm talking.
I mean,
I'm just helping you. Let's see. That's what happens when you have a good woman. She gives you good suggestions. She gives you good books to read, so you could become a better leader. So she want to follow you, and when you see her following you, y'all both.
That's called manipulation.
See, I can't say nothing. You're right.
Because if a woman has
right.
have an opinion about a book, if she gives a man a book so he can become a better leader,
It's from a
gonna
man
be
that
she's
knows
gonna
about
she's gonna
leadership
be
and studies
biased with her
leadership.
choices of what book she want to mold this man. Listen,
It's
she
not
can
about-
really like articulate how she want this man to do if she's feeding him his knowledge on how to lead
not
her.
feeding it. She didn't write
He's
the
not
book,
really leading
daughter.
her. He's a puppet on strings.
She didn't write the book. A man
She don't have to write it. As long as you read the book and you like the shit you see in there, and if he read it, he can replicate the shit you like, then you're the one
So
who's
if she
indoctrinating this dude.
Okay. No. So she's indoctrinating him. If she gives him the Bible, she didn't write the Bible. If he follows the Bible, then he's a puppet. Is that what you're saying?
No. I believe the Bible is a book that a woman can't use to have a bias on it.
No, I give you a Bible. I'm a Christian. You're a puppet. That's it. That's how it goes. That's exactly what you just said.
He didn't say that at all.
I said a man.
Now
I
you
said a man
conflating.
Because I
chooses the book.
suggested one thing. I suggested a book so you could get better at. So I could give her better, so we can grow.
No,
So,
but
so using the Bible, Ruth, if your husband tell you cannot be a preacher, is that an issue?
Here you go with your one little woman preacher stuff.
See,
No, I'm
Ruth
just
dug
saying.
herself a grave.
I'm just saying, Ruth,
grave.
Is that the only verse you read in the Bible, or other?
it's not. But I'm asking you, would you consider that? Would that be? What are you saying?
We're talking about when a woman gives a man an idea, then now she's controlling him. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, she was saying if she
But
gives
no,
him
I'm saying-
a book specific to his. No, I understood the context of what he was saying. He said if she gives him say the book says your wife gets all your money and you must bow down to them days.
Exactly.
If you give him a book called that and he reads it and then you instruct him on what to do,
That's not
he's
the
a leader
book.
based off of that book. Then yeah,
See, look, you're telling on yourself because that means y'all never read this book. Y'all leaders and y'all never read this book, right?
we
This
not
is-
talking about
these
we
are
talking about the
principles.
example of what he
Missing
said,
it, bro.
I
You
gave
giving
you
a man a book
leadership.
to read
Hold
so
on,
you
hold
can
on.
orchestrate
Can I talk? Is it
what
okay
type
for
of
one to
leader
talk?
he is.
Is it okay? Is it
To
2024?
you.
Okay, listen, I'm on a panel. Don't let me get the law involved. So if you give a man a book that based off of principles that another man studied, and you say, hey, honey, I like this book. I heard about this book. I didn't even read this book, but maybe we should study this because you're the leader. And I just want to make sure, you got everything and I have your back. That's a problem.
It's not,
I'm
but he has to agree with it. No,
If your agenda is initially what you stated the first, to give him a book on leadership so he can know how to lead you. If you give this man the Bible and this man is a Muslim, let's say this man is.
Stop making it extreme. That's where you lose.
I'm not making it extreme.
Why
What
you
I'm
gotta
saying
make
is,
it
Ruth. It's nothing wrong with you giving suggestions to your man as long as you follow him. You can give
That's what I'm
suggestions.
saying. The book can say
You can
something
give
that's
him
not
a
given
book,
me.
but as long as you're not you're pushing back on him and challenging him and going against his leadership, it's not a problem.
I never
Yeah,
said
no,
that.
it's-
But he
it's
said
not
you
a
gotta
problem.
understand if this man is dating you and vetting you, he's probably already got his blueprint on how he want to lead. And if you come in and say, here's a book on how to lead me, basically what you're saying to me is that whatever you intended to come with, whatever leadership or knowledge you can, it needs to come from this book right here that I'm giving to you.
If you love her and you respect her and you trust her, and that's a woman you spend the rest of your life with, you wouldn't take consideration if she gave you something, if she gave you a book to read.
This goes back to the dominance thing we were talking about.
It depends on the agenda behind it.
Yeah.
What's the agenda?
If she's trying to mold me to somebody and so I can better treat her the way she want to be treated, then that's I would say that's manipulation.
Why are you twisting it? It will be to if it's good for the relationship. I may not agree with what the book says.
And Peter's
see, that's why I said a lot of women struggle with submission. The fact that she can come out her mouth what's good good for the relationship suggests that she wants to have some type.
So 1 Peter 3 says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. So even the Bible says, depending on what your wife is pushing on you or trying to influence you to do, it's not a bad thing, but she still needs to be under your subjection.
The wife can save the husband because of her behavior.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
that's what the Bible
so y'all
says.
read now. You read. Okay, I get it. I'm a Christian. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm a Christian. I read the Bible and I believe in God. But what I was stating was valid. But when you read from the very book to try to make a point, it just kind of makes it kind of muddy. You know what I'm saying?
Makes it muddy using the Bible.
Well, listen. Just get the point. Let's just say let's walk it back. Let's say Ruth running into a man. She don't know what this man religion is, right? But maybe she has a religion.
He's Christian.
In order for her to be led, you gotta understand what I'm saying. In order for her to be led, the things that this man believe in is very important. And for her to say, okay, take this book. Who knows if this man even reads the Bible? We're not talking about me, man. We're talking about a general man that just want to be a leader. He needs to be able to find a wife who's willing to go where he say go. And if she said, "Hey, look, here's a Bible, guide me this way," I'm gonna look at this book and be like, "Fuck, I'm not using that." You know, I might not even believe in God. I might not even believe in the Bible. I might read the Quran, or I might not even read like sort of like what in White.
So the scenario doesn't work.
How am I supposed to lead you if you're trying to come with an indoctrination that I need to adapt so that I can lead you?
We had this conversation before. I would never date somebody that's not a Christian. Okay. So
Okay,
therefore,
so
we
now
gotta
you're
be on
moving
the
the
same page.
goalpost.
I'm not. You moved the goalpost because you said that you're not the same religion. Because now you know it's gonna make me look like I'm not submissive. But
my whole point was, regardless of religion or whatever, or books, just simply being led, it compensates for any religion the man has. The fact that he's able to lead you and you're willing to follow, it doesn't matter what he believes. It doesn't matter what he eat. It don't matter what type of sneakers he wear. Men
can do whatever they want and women can't. That's basically what you're saying, right?
I didn't say he can do whatever he want. I'm saying if you're to be cooperative and submissive, the things that the preferences and perspectives he have, it shouldn't, your perspectives and your preferences and principles don't really matter.
Wow. That's not a two-way.
Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that comment. So
don't fix it. Don't save him. You don't want to.
No.
You think it was why? Now you
know why it was a man. That's his choice, right? And a man can choose how he wants to operate his life. That's essentially what we're saying.
Not a woman. A woman can't decide.
So how the man operates his life? No, a woman should not be deciding how a man operates his life.
No. Y'all telling us that we can't decide for ourselves anything. The man has to decide everything, and the man has to validate
it's just if you want to be in a relationship with a man who's going to lead you, you got to be able to. You got to be willing to have input from whatever practices or things you put.
He's saying I can't.
No, you can absolutely have input. It's just he has the final say.
What would it? If you're with a great guy, intuitive guy, principled guy, a guy who has structure and orderly, follows God to righteous, what is it that you would try to convince him of to do something different? Like, what would you be trying?
I'm not trying to convince him of anything. I'm going to find somebody that aligns with what I believe in. But that means if I read and I'm a reader and he reads too, like, why can't we read the same from the same page? Why can't we? That's why relationships not that strong, because somebody's always trying to pull somebody and change them into another way. But if we both on the same page and we both running quick, like, I'm always going to give him the final say. I'm always going to let him decide. I always encourage him to be masculine. But you guys act like if a woman have any input that we're challenging your masculinity. I always promote him, just like, look.
No, it comes up now you're saying it different. Right, you're saying, so you've been saying just suggestions and input. You're not saying you're trying to dictate what he does.
Never said that. You see how he added it? I never said that. I said I gave him a book. I presented a book. Okay,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, but that's manipulation.
You literally said if you haven't read this book, you're not a good leader. You literally just said that. It's not the Bible.
Yeah, that's influence and manipulation.
Influence and manipulation.
It was one time. Influence and manipulation, though.
And they wonder why these women ain't submissive.
No, Ruth, in the beginning of the conversation, in the beginning when you led with it, that's what might have threw them off. Is you said that if you're not reading this book, you may not be a good leader.
Can't you see how fairy tale it is for you to say that you want to find a man that just perfectly aligns with everything that you believe in all this? That's why there's compatibility issues with women. And these relationships fail. Y'all want a man to get in line.
Darren, can you let me talk for a second? It's like for y'all. Listen, why would I?
Can you please stop talking with your hands?
If you're compatible, y'all not my man. If y'all not compatible, I only gotta be submissive to my husband. Ask Biz. If y'all not compatible, like it would not be more compatible if I find somebody that aligns with what I believe in. That would be the best relationship because we believe the same thing. You're saying because I have to, like, I can't have a say. That don't make any kind of sense. But that's okay, Bruce. I know you're married. You'd be
more compatible.
But everybody else in the world is
you wouldn't be at this stage unmarried.
How is he?
If you were able to be led, simple.
Bruce, how is he deleted
How
then?
am I not gonna be able? Y'all don't know my man. Listen, y'all gotta ask this man. I'm easy peasy. I'm just debating with y'all stubborn people, trying to let y'all see what the women are trying to say. But y'all won't hear nothing. Sometimes we have really good suggestions. Sometimes we have wisdom, but you're gonna miss it because she's a woman. She has a vagina. How dare her?
That's not true.
The same breath as me.
You,
I'm great. I'm a god. Like, come on.
You misunderstanding what it means for us to display masculinity. What me and Bruiser are strictly saying is we can read any book with you in the world that we want, but our decision on how we implement it based off of your opinion is not determining who we are as men. And if we allow you to be able to do that, we don't grow operating as men.
Why are y'all so challenged
Absolutely
and
facts,
threatened about your
100%.
manhood? Why?
No, that's just the truth. That's what it is.
So you guys you're used to dealing with challenging women, but if your woman cooperates, if she's feminine,
me and Bruiser used to deal with challenging women.
Say it again.
What?
Bruiser, do you get challenged? Are you dealing with this?
No,
not at all.
You pick somebody that aligned with you, but I can't do that. You see what I'm saying?
We didn't tell you.
No,
and that's why I said impression is important. A woman who's impressionable can be led at a younger age. The older the woman get, she have all these principles, she have all these beliefs, she's indoctrinated, she have all these experiences, she have her favorite sex positions. She can't be led. You have to come and try to fit into her.
She has principles. So what? That's why you find a man who follows God as well. That you're not making any sense. Don't find anybody you align with. How dare you?
But the reason why it's different for man and woman, because men choose who get married. Women choose who have sex. So if we're choosing you to be a wife and you can't be led and you don't
the Bible, because that's really what y'all acting like is the Bible.
Huh?
The Bible is the most red pill book there is, if you really want to be honest about it. It is.
I'm calling Casey and cussing her out tonight because she should have came up here with me. Y'all are being ridiculous tonight.
Casey would agree with me.
This is expected because we understand how women move.
What's a husband? She'd agree with me.
What?
Women move like this as a mass, and it wasn't controlled. That's why it's so hard for men to find relationships, because they are unleadable. They're out of order, and that they just can't be led.
So you're saying I can't be led?
He didn't say that. Ruth, he didn't say that.
You want to be honest with me?
Problem. He said
he did not say. He said women.
My gums too much for him, right? It's too much heat for you, right, Darwin?
You want to be honest with you?
You was doing good. Don't ruin the fantasy.
He about to get really heat.
90%, Darwin.
You want me to be honest with you?
This was your
from the outside looking in. I'm gonna just assume you're a single woman and you got the beliefs you stated. I think I genuinely believe that that's what you believe in, and that's what you value in men. The fact that you're able to articulate what you specifically value in a man to be your husband,
masculinity,
that lets me know that now I have to fit the description.
Yes,
that means I have to fall in line. That means your options are limited.
That means that there's no good men out there, is what you're saying then.
I didn't say there's no good men out there. We said a good man was a man who was capable to lead, right? And I know I can't lead you because you have all these you have the criteria.
I never said that because I'm smart.
Of someone who forces a man to fit in. You won't even bend your. If I'm a Muslim and I say, hey, look, I'm looking for a wife and I find you beautiful. I want to take you as my wife. I'm a Muslim. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to worship Allah and pray and fast and all that. And you say no, that means you can't be led.
1 Corinthians 14:34. The woman should keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be in submission, as the law also says.
Marcus, this is the only time you read the Bible. Stop playing.
Hold on. I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. The woman should remain quiet in the church, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be in submission, as the law also says. Anything they desire to learn. No, you said their husbands at home, for it is shameful for a woman to speak in church.
We talked about this already.
You said you Christian, Ruth, so what he's reading you is what the Bible says.
I understand.
And this is the reason why women find it more lucrative to be in transactional relationships.
If 3 men are yelling at me, 4 men are
Churches
yelling at me.
Yelling. No one's we ain't yelling at you,
He won't let me finish my sentence. Maybe you
Who's
are, but
yelling?
not Darwin.
but they're not yelling at you.
Okay, well, let me finish my sentences, please. Okay, a woman has to be smart. Okay, she's not going to be in a power position, so she needs to choose somebody that is masculine, that she can listen to, that she can get along with, that she's compatible with. It's nothing wrong. You want to tell your daughters just pick any man and follow him?
I'm not
Because
gonna
he's a
tell my
man?
daughter to
Not
pick
telling you
nobody.
that.
Darwin would.
I'm gonna let my.
He's not telling you to pick any man. They're not telling you to pick any
He said
man.
any man is the right man for me. I should listen to
I'm
him 'cause
saying
he's
you have to
Muslim.
you have to put yourself in a position to get picked. But when you have all these preferences and deal breakers and criteria, now
You
you
can get
limit your
picked
options
anyway.
on being chosen.
Darwin,
I'm
you can get
saying,
picked
and
anyway.
I'm saying that's the reason why it's easier to pick a woman when she's younger, coming from covering of her father, because she don't tend to have all this trauma and all these
I was
pet
Christian when I
peeves
was
and deal
at that time.
breakers and breaking points, or religious preferences or favorite sex positions and favorite restaurants and shit that we got to try to fit into.
I don't do none of that. I've never picked a restaurant. What are you talking about? You see what I'm saying?
So you don't got a favorite position?
Why you gotta go to sex? What you talking about? We could do
Yeah,
whatever
So
position
it's
you
not
want to.
included in relationships.
Let's
It don't matter. Like he gets treated like a king. What?
You got a
Like,
favorite. You guys are
you have
confusing. Principles, right?
You're
You're a principled woman, right?
Yes, I am.
There you go. Your principles is based off of who?
Proverbs 31. I am a Proverbs 31 woman based off of God. That's why I follow a man who follows God. You see how that works?
Okay.
Y'all want to tell the people to follow the Bible, but y'all can't even understand you need to follow God, and then the woman follows you.
So the man, so you said you was previously married, right?
But you're telling me to follow a man if he doesn't follow God. That's the problem.
You said you was previously married, right?
Say it again.
Yeah. You said you was in a relationship with a God-fearing man before, right?
No, he turned out not to be God-fearing. But go ahead.
You just said
that's why it didn't work.
And now you're telling me you was in a relationship with a man that wasn't God-fearing.
That's why it didn't work. I was also 19 when I got married. That's why it didn't work, because he wasn't God-fearing. So now I'm gonna find some. Now I have found somebody.
Okay, I get it. So you're in order to start the relationship, they don't have to be God-fearing. So God-fearing is something you figure out later after busting it open.
No, it's called. What are you talking about?
All right, we gotta go ahead and
I'm saying, like, these things happen later on in the relationship where you found out he wasn't God-fearing, and then you decided to depart from the relationship.
I didn't decide to depart from the relationship. The person did not want to break up with me. He had a whole girlfriend. What are you talking about?
All right,